Physics. Oh man, let me give you a rundown. Physics is a part of science that basically explains how our views of the world work. You've probably heard of guys like Einstein, Stephen Hawking, Galileo, and Isaac Newton. Yeah, those guys. Physics is kind of hard at first because you kind of need to lose your mind at first, but let me make it easier for you to understand. Here is one basic concept: kinematics. Kinematics is basically all about describing the motions of an object. You can describe the movement of an object by asking yourself, how fast is the object? Where is the object going? And how long will it take for the object to stop moving? You can use terms like S for speed, V for velocity, I for time, delta X for displacement, A for acceleration. Look up those AP term sheet for all the formulas and stuff for more info. You can use these terms to describe, let's say, a cat is moving from one side of a room to another. Cats are pretty cute, but are also kind of slow. They probably move slow, and the time for them to get to the other side of the room is pretty long. What I just described is the movement in the X direction. How about the Y direction, aka falling from the Earth concept? Well, we all know that falling from the Earth, we gain speed, which is gravity pulling down on us. This is called acceleration due to gravity. It's the same concept from the X direction, just that all problems in this concept will be asking us to jump off a building. Bungee jumping off a canyon. I know it's kind of terrifying, but the AP exam will probably ask us something like that. Anyways, since you are falling, let's say from rest, and you are jumping off a 19.6 meter bridge into the water, it takes about 2 seconds. So this is because you are accelerating at a rate for your speed to get past the 2-meter bridge. I'm just explaining a concept. I can't really go into the calculations because I'm kind of pinched on time. But let's continue and let's combine these two concepts, because no matter what, these concepts are always in action everywhere. The combination of these concepts is called projectile motion. An example is basically a catapult throwing a rock. The rock in the air does not accelerate in the X direction because nothing is slowing it down except air resistance, but let's just say that is negligible for AP Physics 1, Semester 1. It's still falling, so gravity is pulling down to the rock to the ground, aka the Y direction. Once the rock hits the ground, it will stop moving in all directions. Boom. That is kinematics in a nutshell. Okay, let's move on to forces. Here are 3 laws that Newton created surrounding forces. Newton said for his first law, inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force, an unbalanced force. He basically said that for an example, I am just standing. I will stay standing unless someone pushes me. The same thing when I'm in motion. I can walk until someone stops me, like walking into a wall or some crappy basketball hoops in the quad. Newton's second law, force equals ma. He created this formula to accurately calculate what a force is, and funny enough, he called these values Newton. Mass in an object times acceleration will equal its force. That's his second law. Newton's third law of motion. To any action, there is always an opposite and equal reaction. Basically saying the force of me sitting will go into the chair, and since I'm not falling through the chair's force is holding me up. Force is just all about how, what, and where the motion of the object is directed at. Problems would probably consist of the force of a car, the pushing and pulling forces of someone grabbing your shirt, or famously, just the force of a person falling. I know, right? Falling. Friction is basically a force that opposes motion, aka the moving force. The best way to describe it is ice and sand. Ice is slippery, so you can easily move on it, while on sand is very textured and hard, which makes it hard to move. The best way to solve problems with forces is using a force diagram. It doesn't matter the circumstances, whether the object in motion or not in motion is parallel to the ground, on the ground, away from them, on a slope, even connected to a pulley. Force diagrams are a great way to visualize and calculate the variables in your force problems. and tension. Tension, go ask Miss Shepard. Anyways, that is the basic concept of forces, but let's talk about a force in a circle. A force is a vector, so it can go in any sort of direction, straight, left, right, up, down, even in a circle, around itself. The force of a circle is called the centripetal force. You need to know the equation and variables like the radius of the circle and the velocity that the mass is moving. The best way to visualize is through the Earth once again. The moon is in orbit, and around the Earth, just find the distance between the Earth. Find the moon, and the moon, and how fast the moon travels and how big the moon is, and it will tell you the centripetal force of the force orbiting the Earth. Again, explaining the concept, but you do the equation stuff. One more concept that I want to go over is Newton's law of universal gravitation. Theoretically, all masses in the universe exert a gravitational field. If the Earth can attract the moon, then I can attract your mom. Sorry, too much. Gravity is not a force, but gravity affects everything in the universe. There is a force due to gravity, but I'm not too smart on this topic or at all, so I'll just stop there as well. One last thing. Last thing. Inertial and gravitational masses. They are both equal to the same thing on Earth, but they are different in meaning. Inertial mass is the amount of mass to resist acceleration, while gravitational mass is due to the force of gravity. Alright, here's an example problem from one of the concepts. Maybe with a pulley, maybe it's not. Alright, here's the problem. You have 5 seconds of my valuable screen time to look at this problem. Okay? Ready. Alright, here's my work. Probably right there, hopefully. Maybe. I don't want to explain. Just look at it. Here's the algebra 1. Here's the algebra 2. Here's trigonometry. Okay, bye!